Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. Today I'm not going to be reading any question or statements or whatever because I'm going to use today as a State of the Surge's swing. Every now and then I bring you an updates on what I've been working on and thinking about, because in most cases I use myself as a guinea pig if I have any thoughts about things about the golf swing that I want to test or whatever. But the most important thing is I'm very concerned about my swing. I don't get to practice much and don't get to play enough. So when I do get out there and play, I'm very big on paying attention to what's happening in my swing, because naturally when I'm hitting these balls on the dailies every day, I want to be hitting good golf shots, and I can only do that with a good setup and a good swing. So I'm always constantly trying to keep my swing on tip-top shape so that it looks correctly, because I guess we got to say I got to be a good role model here. So I've been having a lot of issues for about the last year, and that I've been losing my posture into the impact area, into impact, and hitting some rather very poor shots for myself. A lot of shots weakened to the right, and I've actually hit for myself way too many hosel rockets, and that's usually some way of moving into the ball, which puts the hosel into the ball, and the ball goes over there, which means it's not very good to be. It's a dangerous place to be standing over to the right. And so I've done a lot of things, and I'm back to hitting the ball really, really good again. And it came down to setup, and it came down to one fine point in setup. And as much as I've always talked about weight being in the arches, that's not totally enough to make sure that you're going to be able to maintain your spine angle and stay still over the ball to return the club back to impact, because you're keeping your spine stable and therefore your hips and the rest of your body. And so the thing I'm really working on now, and I've toyed in and out of it for about the last 6 months or whatever, and it just really got to me really well the other day, and I started hitting shots like, even my good shots for the last 6 months have been nothing like I normally play, and my ability to start the ball tight on line and start a ball, say, at a flag, an iron at the flag, and it finishes pretty much at the flag. My flight pattern's been a little wider dispersion than I care to have, as compared to most of the time when I'm really on it, it's straight. And I've lost that, but I'm getting it back now, and it's because of this subtle little change. As I said, weight's supposed to be in the arches, athletically ready, like a tennis player waiting for the serve. You're in the field, athletic ready posture for baseball, because you don't know whether the ball's going to come at you, to the right, to the left. You might have to go back one way or the other. In the arches gives you all that range of motion where your weight your weight can roll and move around your ankles, all right, in any direction of almost a complete circle. So arches is important, but what's really ultimately important in hitting a golf ball is stability. The fact that once you start here, you stay here so you can return the club there. Now again, any of you that's really been studying golf swings and stuff, you know that the peak performance swing is the only swing today that advocates the head must stay still, and the head must be behind the ball at impact. Today, the rotational swing, most of these guys hit the ball, they're already ahead of it, and they got what I call the lag, drag, hold, block. And so they got a lot more motion. It takes a lot more practice to learn that, a lot more practice to maintain that swing, and it's a very stressful swing on the body. So we want to stay still. But here's the key to staying still. You hear all this talk about the core. They got all of these, if you see these shows about guys working out in the gyms and everything else, they got them standing on these kind of like half-round balls, and they practice their turn and everything else, and they do exercises to build up the strength of their core, which is your abdomen and your hips area, and so to build up the core. And that's important, because they want to, if you have core strength, you can have a better chance of maintaining your stability. But it's like, you can, as far as I'm concerned, you can have the strongest core in the world. You can have those six-pack abs they talk about. But if you're allowing yourself to turn too much, and once you turn enough, your hip enough, it straightens up your right leg, which makes your back leg go down, your forward leg go down, and then you whip through the ball like that, and your forward leg straightens up, and you turn really hard like this. There's no way you can move that much and keep your spine still, no matter whether you got six-packs abs or 2 6-packs of abs. You move your body too much, you can't stay there. So yeah, I want core strength. I've always told everybody, hey, I want to see you get more supple, more flexible, build up your abs and everything else. But the key is don't do it so you can take a bigger turn. You're going to do it to stay stable, and the best way to stay stable is the peak performance golf swing, which is the wide knees, outward pressure, and that holds you stable. But here is the ultimate key, and I've said it 3 times, so I'm going to give you the answer right now. I can be in my arches, sitting here in my arches, but the key is what? I have to have the hips pushed out a little bit. So I get a little bit of curvature at the base of my back, right where my belt is. I get that little bit of curvature, because that when I do that tightens up my muscles a little bit, puts a better stretch in my muscles, in my upper muscles of my legs, and through my whole leg right here, and that's what gives me the stability to stay in position on the way down. Because if my tendency has been to just getting here and kind of set up to the ball. I'm in my arches, but I kind of sit down into my arches, and look how my hips are just going down. And in some cases, they almost do what? My body's almost getting pushed under, and so I'm in like this. And if I push, and if I got that, and I'm going this way at impact, the club's going that way into the ball, right? It's going to be going like this into the ball, and that's pushing the shaft into it. So the key is that, as we say, just push your hips out a little bit, put a finger on your belt buckle, and just as you bend over and get it, just push it back and just get that little arch. I don't want so much that you're tightening up and you're creating a lot of tension and strain there. Just enough to get that little curvature in the back, so you can maintain that and stay here where you're not going to have that happening. And that's what's been happening to me recently for the last 6 months or so. I've been losing my spine angle coming into impact because I was kind of, so I guess slouchy, sitting down too much. The old concept of sitting on a bar stool rather than slightly pushing it away, hips just slightly out. So I got to get back to that. What I'm concentrating on is feeling that little bit of curvature in my back, a little bit of tightness here. But the key is, if you have the tightness at address, you're right there at impact. But it's just enough tightness to control it. It's not tight where it's creating tension and stress and strain. All right, so just that little push to get in here. You feel, and as soon as I do that, I can feel what? I can feel this whole the 2 muscle groups in my thighs right here just stretch a little bit, and that stretching comes up here and ties in with the abs and the core, and really keeps it stable and stronger and more centered, and that's going to allow me to get back to impact and hit the ball more solid and more straight. Because I mean, like I keep telling all of you that on every one of these dailies, but that's the whole key. That's all I look for, hitting it solid and straight. So get that little bit of hips back, push the bar stool away, and you're going to find your posture you'll maintain your posture through all the way to impact. And that's the most important thing to hitting those nip divots solid straight, so that you can shoot those lower scores. That's it for today for the Surge, and I'll be talking to y'all again soon.